All right, guys. So in today's video, what I want to go over is carb cycling for performance and also for aesthetics. You can accomplish both. This is actually a really good way of doing that. It's going to be high carb, alternating between high carb and low carb days, with a reason, with a purpose. And with that, you have the ability to take this different directions. You can take this in a place where you want to cut, lose some body fat. You can maintain the weight that you're currently at and aim for performance, or you can add to put on a little bit of muscle mass and a little bit of size. And you can use this systematically throughout the year to accomplish all those different goals. So sometimes people will, and I will, use the winter as more of a bulking time to put on a little bit of body mass, but also increase my strength with that. And then also take times when it's maintenance, moving through and just enjoying where you're at and letting your body get accustomed to that from a performance standpoint. And then say you want to go on, summertime's coming, or you're going to go on a trip, or you just want to be leaner and see what you can do, then you can go into a cutting phase where you're reducing the calories, still playing with the carb intake, and that will help really quickly get to a place where you're a lot leaner, seeing a lot more of that muscle mass by dropping body fat. So ways that we're going to do that, I'll map this whole system out, and it's more geared towards teaching you so you have the tools to be able to do this, and then I'm here for support. So what we're doing is carb cycling, and then with that, again, you can, like I said, can cut weight, can maintain weight, can gain weight. Carb cycling just refers to we're going to have higher days and lower days of carb intake. That's one way to carb cycle. The second way to carb cycle is that we want to put the calories of carbohydrates around your training times. And then what those carbs also can play into that as well, just for feelings of feeling full and getting into your bloodstream quicker based on if it's around training. But I'll get into all that as we continue through this video. So big thing is the reason we're doing this is low carb days decrease insulin levels and get into some fat stores, which is ultimately what we're working on and what we're looking for. And that's the whole point of this, being able to lean out a little bit. We do need those high carb days because those are like your refeed, where we increase muscle glycogen stores. That allows you to maintain the muscle mass you have, which allows you to still perform well. Also, the person that has more muscle mass is going to have a higher metabolism. Also a big benefit here, we want to make sure that your engine's continuing to run, and we're not just continually cutting forever to a place where your metabolic system needs to always be eating less and less and less to maintain those results. We want you to be able to perform really well and have the aesthetics that you're after. So that's why you do need those high carbohydrate days put in there. Fluctuating wise, and we'll get into the math on this, we can alternate between higher carb, which would be 2 to 2.5 grams per pound of body weight in carbohydrates. Those are going to be your high days. That seems like a lot for some people. That seems like not a lot for some. Everybody's coming at this from different places. So that's going to play into how this is for you. And then basically we're going to go half your body weight in grams on the other days. Now, from that, what we're looking for is to get your total daily energy expenditure. So everything that we do is driven off of this. I have a link which I can send you, which is a calculator that I find is the most accurate. That also allows you to put in whether you're sedentary, low active, moderate active, high active, and it basically plays into that. And I individually can help guide you as to what's going to be best for that, but that's a good calculator to get you going. So I will have a link to that. And then there's different ways we can go at this. There's a cut way we can do a cut phase, a maintenance, or a bulking, and I want to go out and demonstrate all of them in this video so you understand the reason behind all of them, and you get to see the big picture of this entire nutrition system. So it becomes more of a system and a lifestyle instead of I'm just going to do this to get lean, to try to do this quickly. Like, I want this to be just the way you eat and the way you look at food going forward, and you understand that you are in the driver's seat of nutrition and aesthetics, and you can take this wherever you would like that to go. So with that, starting with a cut phase, you're going to take your total daily energy expenditure, and ultimately what you're going to do is you're going to decrease by 10% off that value, okay, for your high carb days. And on your low carb days, you're going to take 25% of that. Meaning, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have a day where I am looking at 2,500 calories for my total daily energy expenditure, this value we gained here. So I'm going to eat 25% less calories. So your total calorie allotment for the day on your low carb days is 1,875 calories. Total calories, carbs, fat, protein. On your high carb days, it's 10% less than this 2,500, so it's 2,250. That's, again, your total intake for the entire day. Now, how that's going to play out is you're going to alternate, because we want to have more lower carb days because we're chasing the aesthetics and leaning out, more lower carb days than the higher carb days. So what you're going to do is you're going to do 3 lower carb days. So you do 3 days in a row of 1,875 calories total for the day, and then 1 refeed day, 1 high carb day, where you're going to go 2,250 calories. Again, that is an important day. We do need that for performance to maintain muscle mass and the energy balance. That's essentially how that's going to work. I'm going to get into protein a little bit and fat in a second. On the maintenance, what you're looking for is that your daily caloric intake every single day is going to be your total daily energy expenditure. So using the same example, if I'm going to maintain my body weight, let's say you weigh 160 pounds, you want to stay 160 pounds, just improve performance and lean out a little bit, what you're going to do is you're going to take your 2,500 calories and you're going to eat that total calories every single day, right? So basically it does come down to calories in versus calories out as far as weight's concerned, and we're looking to maintain, so we're going to eat what your body needs to maintain that level of body weight. Now, from there, what we're going to do is we'll fluctuate between high carb and low carb days. Now, on your low carb days, 25% of that 2,500 calories is going to be from carbohydrates. On your high carb days, 50% of that is going to be from carbohydrates. So again, 50% of your 2,500 from your total daily energy expenditure is going to be in carbohydrates. Now, similar in that we're going to follow a pattern as to our low days and our high days. We're going to do a 3-2. So 3 days of lower carbohydrate. Again, still hitting your 2,500, but it's the 25% carbs. And then 2 high days, okay? Now, and that's again going to be 50% of your carbs. I'm going to get a little more into the details of this as we get further. Now, let's say you want to add some muscle mass, okay? You want to add a little bit of body weight. You want to get a little stronger, and you're going to spend time doing that. You can eat to support that. It's going to be the exact same thing we did here. The only difference is you're going to take your total daily energy expenditure and you're going to add 10% to that, okay? So whatever that value is that you receive here, you add 10%, that's your total calories. And we're still going to do the same deal where your low carb days are 25% of the calories and your high carb days are 50% of the calories. The only difference is you're 10% more on your total intake, which is going to promote that slow but consistent weight gain, allowing for performance, and also maintaining some, staying lean so you're not just gaining fat mass. Same deal with the 3 and 2, 3 low days, 2 high days. Now, regardless of whether you're cutting, maintaining, bulking, or anywhere of those, what you're going to do is you always want to maintain protein levels. So with that, I want to make sure that my protein level is always 1 gram per pound of body weight. Meaning, if I weigh 160 pounds, regardless of all these other things, I always need to eat 160 grams of carbohydrates every single day. Doesn't matter if it's a low day, high day, doesn't matter if I'm cutting or if I'm bulking. I'm always eating 1 gram per pound of my body weight. Again, I weigh 160 pounds, I'm eating 160 grams of protein every day. That's always consistent, okay? So that's the big thing. We all fluctuate with this whole system. Our carb intake, based on days, and then the second thing is if we're looking to cut, we're in a slight energy expenditure. If we're looking to maintain, we're eating right at what we need. And if we're looking to gain size, gain muscle mass, or chase that performance a little bit, we're looking to eat a little extra. Now, it's easy to get lost in the carb cycling piece of this. Now, 80%, literally 80%, so pretty much most of the results come from maintaining that total daily energy expenditure. So if you're looking to lean out and lose body fat, you may miss the percentages, but if you hit your total daily energy expenditure, this 25% caloric deficit, this 10% depending on the day, so you're eating slightly under this energy expenditure, you're going to see success. Guarantee it. Same deal on the maintenance, same deal on the bulking. You need to hit that value. So the total daily energy expenditure, whatever it is, based on if you're cutting, maintaining, or gaining, needs to be at that same level. Okay, if it is, it's easy, and you're gonna do that. The magic sauce of this is that 20% of it, so 80% is just hitting your values. 20% is the carb timing. So 10% of that is moving, alternating, fluctuating, lower days, higher days, that 3-2 or that 3-1 pattern. The other magic sauce is putting all your carbohydrates around your training. So let's say, hypothetically, I'm gonna train in the afternoon at 4 o'clock. Now for me, that means I want the bulk of my carbohydrates, whether it's a high carb day or a low carb day, to be later in the day around my training. And essentially, think of it as earning your carbohydrates. Now, that means in the morning, I'm not gonna have oatmeal and a banana. I'm probably gonna have eggs and some kind of fat source, and making sure I'm hitting my protein. Lunch is still going to be a little bit of carb, a good amount of protein and high fat. And then dinner time, a little bit before training and a lot after training, I'm going to really increase my carb intake because my body's looking to replace what I just used in training. Okay, that's the big thing. Now with this, what I encourage you to do is you're going to map out your total days. So if I'm on, let's say I'm just trying to maintain my body weight, I'm gonna find my total daily energy expenditure. That's the first thing. Everything runs off that. Second thing I'm gonna do from there is I'm gonna take and I'm gonna do the math on this, and you can do, this is pretty simple to do. So if I want my TDEE, let's say it's 2,500, what I want is 160 grams of protein. 160 grams times 4, because that's how many calories per gram. That gives you a value. Plug that value in, put it somewhere. Then figure out what 25% of that total daily energy expenditure is and put that down for carbs. Now make a high carb day. Again, you're still gonna have the protein, you're gonna have 50% carbs. Figure out what that value is, so 50% of your total daily energy expenditure, and note that. Now the rest is gonna be filled in with fat. So take the fat and write down those values. So you should have on your low carb day, a protein intake, a carb intake, and a fat intake. And then next to that, you should have your high carb days, which is going to be your protein intake, your carb intake, and your fat intake. And there are going to be different values based on that. But you know how many grams of each one you need to hit your total calories, okay? Now, lastly, you do need to track in order for this to be successful, okay? And this is how it's science, and I can literally guarantee the results, is if you track and you're honest with your tracking and you're accurate with your tracking, I guarantee we can get the results. If you're not, then it's like taking off from New York, trying to fly to Seattle, just aiming west and hoping you arrive there. If you take off in New York and you follow this and you track, I guarantee we can land in Seattle because you're gonna have the ability to know exactly how your body responds, okay? So it literally is just as simple as it's science, and it's a math equation. And then from there, we can alternate. So it's not uncommon for people to take this and do a bulking, gaining phase in the fall and the winter to try to put a little muscle mass on, do a little slower training, trying to get stronger. And then it's not uncommon to go to a maintenance for a little while, and then the summer's coming around, or you're gonna do an endurance event, and you wanna be a little lighter, or you wanna be a little leaner, going into a cut phase, and then maintaining that for the rest of the season. Now, that's how you can structure this. You have the tools. We can do this together. Okay, now let me support you on this. Everybody's gonna come at this with different things. I'm here for questions. Let me know what you have. Awesome. Thanks, guys. You can do this. This is gonna be successful.